forcing to breathe out, okay? Quiet breathing, we don't use any muscles. All right, so that's the external intercostals. Those are the internal intercostals. If we can just direct over here for a minute, the main breathing muscle is the diaphragm. Right? This is a dome-shaped muscle that goes across the abdomen this way, but it also goes this way, front to back. So this is the diaphragm. Okay, that's the primary muscle we're all using right now for breathing. Right? So I put a sticker here. Right? We're going to say the diaphragm. So those are the three muscles for breathing. For the muscles of the abdomen, this main muscle coming up and down, we had talked before, is an 8-pack muscle actually. Usually when you have your pants on though, we just see the 6 up here. So this is called the rectus abdominis. What divides it into compartments are these little cross fibers right here. This is called tendinous inscriptions. Connecting the left and the right rectus abdominis muscles is a white line right here. It's a fascia holding the two muscles together. That is called the linea alba, white line. That's all that means. Okay, so that's the rectus abdominis. On this side, since the fibers are going the direction as if we put our hand in our pocket, this is the external oblique. If we cut that off and looked at it, it would look like this. Now you can see the fibers, again, the external oblique would go like this, and you can see, right, these are crisscrossing me now, right? The external would be like my hand. The internals go like that and deep, so that would be the internal oblique. The last one is the transversus abdominis. That one we're going to see on the inside of the abdominal wall. Okay, these run like that, transverse. All right, so that's what you'll see on a practical. You won't see the transversus out this way. Okay. Just some other, while we're here in the front, some of the muscles we're going to take a look at. Actually, do I want to do these now? Let's take a look at the muscles that move the arm. We'll start in the back here first. The first 5 that I'm going to do move the scapula. This big muscle that's superficial right here, this is the lower trap, the middle trap, and the upper trap. Right, this is all trapezius. Okay. Over here, this is the levator scapulae. Then the rhomboids, rhomboid minor, rhomboid major. So those are the 3 that we see on the back that move the shoulder blade. The traps, levator scap, and the rhomboids. Right? The rhomboids actually do this. They bring our shoulder blades back together. Okay? The muscles that pull the shoulder blades forward, we can see better from the front. The first one here, pec minor. Right? That is located anatomically under this big muscle here, the pec major. We would have to actually cut this off to see this. So you can see the cut edge right here. So this is the pec minor. That pulls the scapula forward. Then the other one that pulls the scapula forward is more on the side right here. This is the serratus anterior. Right? Both of these muscles protract. They bring the scapula forward. Okay. Just some other muscles on this model. Again, pec major right here. From earlier when we did the neck, these are the SCMs right here. Right, you can see the sternocleidomastoid. Here's some scalenes on the side here. Those are those ropey muscles. I'm trying to conclude some of the other muscles that we did. Okay. Let's do a dissection of the upper extremity for a minute. So again, we're looking at the arm like this. Let's take a look at the shoulder muscles first. This big one here that I'm going to take off is the deltoid muscle. We're going to remove that. And now we can study the rotator cuff. Here's the spine of the scapula. Above the spine of the scapula, this is the supraspinatus. This is the first muscle of the sits group. Below it, infraspinatus. The lowest one right there, teres minor. Okay. The 4th rotator cuff we're going to see from the inside here, guys. This is the subscapularis. And let's go back to this one more time. I just thought of one other muscle that we're going to do in a minute. The superficial muscle down over here, this is the lats. Okay, the latissimus dorsi. I forgot to include that while we're looking at that model. Okay, so the traps and then the lats are below it. Going back to this dissection, again, we said this was the deltoid. If we remove the deltoid, we could also see a little bit better right here. This is the teres major muscle. Again, the way you differentiate the major and the minor is that the long head of the triceps separates those two. Here's the teres minor, Here's the teres major. Okay. Here we can see some of the lats coming up to the arm. Right? The lats actually come from the trunk over here and go through the armpit, and they kind of come to the arm this way, and they kind of put your hand like you were getting handcuffed backwards that way. This is the pec major muscle. We're seeing part of the pec major. Okay, let's do the back of the arm first. So on the back of the arm, we have the tricep muscle. Here's the tricep. Since you guys are taping, I'll put it on there. This is the long head of the triceps. In case everybody ever asked you, this is the lateral head, and then over here is the medial head. It has 3 heads, hence the name triceps. But for me, you just have to know this whole thing is the tricep muscle. Coming to the front of the arm, this tube, like right here, running along the bone, is the coracobrachialis, like a tube-like muscle. The one here in the front, biceps brachii. Okay? And then underneath it, if we were able to pop this off, we would see this muscle here in full. This is the brachialis. The brachialis. Okay, so that's the muscles of the front of the arm and the back of the arm. Let's go to the forearm for a minute. So again, we're holding our hand like this. The main muscle you want to find first, because it kind of divides the front and the back, is this muscle right here. We think we said number 20. This is the brachioradialis muscle. Think of this as the handshake muscle that kind of flexes the forearm in the handshake position. So this is the brachioradialis. Okay. Now going to the front of the arm. The first muscle you're going to see, pronator teres, right there. Flexor carpi radialis, right there. The next one is the palmaris longus, and that one you can follow right to the palm, and you see it goes over the flexor retinaculum, kind of like a little triangular area. So that's the palmaris longus. And then the innermost right here, flexor carpi ulnaris. All 3 of those muscles there flex the wrist. But the radialis does radial deviation, and then the ulnaris does ulnar deviation. But all 3 of them work together to flex the wrist. The only other muscle that I want you to know in the front here, if we took these 3 superficial ones off, this muscle here is in the middle layer. This is called the flexor digitorum superficialis. Right? The name tells you what it does. It flexes the digits. Okay? Going to the back of the forearm, the last couple muscles. Again, find your brachioradialis, number 20. That's kind of like the dividing point between the front and the back. Going to the back of the forearm, the first 2 muscles have the name extensor carpi radialis, except that one is longer than the other. So the one that's on the outside is the extensor carpi radialis longus. The one that's just on the inside, extensor carpi radialis brevis. Right, so the longus, the brevis. Then finally we're going to have the extensor digitorum right there. Goes right to the fingers. That one's easy. And then finally, the extensor carpi ulnaris. Right, so you have a radialis and then an ulnaris. Same thing we had in the front. We had a radialis on one side and an ulnaris on the other side. Except that this side is the flexor side. This is the extensor side. Right, I think I got most of them. Oh, yes, and the retinaculum, thank you. This is the extensor retinaculum on the back. Just like Marley said, like a bracelet. That's a good way to look at it. And on the front, it's right here. Okay, they're like ligaments that just hold all the tendons down. Okay? And I think that covers most of it. But my disclaimer is if I did forget anything, you should know it anyway. All right. But that's most of them. Okay.